Hi, we're talking today about change within the business objects environment and how to manage that change. And specifically, we're looking at operating environment changes. What we mean by that is that the business object system relies on a lot of technologies and systems in order to function. And when there are changes to those technologies or systems, then that can have a direct impact on the system, the business object system, and the results that it's producing. So as we look to not only the business objects technologies within itself, its system services, but also into the server infrastructure, whether that's software, hardware, into databases, database changes, versions, vendor application changes that impact that, and the business object system itself through upgrades and the services that get changed there, that can really impact the data that's being produced by the business object system. So when we have the challenge of pre and post changes producing different results, that means that decisions are being impacted based on those different reports. So when there's incorrect reports, incorrect decisions, and that leads to risk and financial impact. So it's really important that we are able to identify when reports are not functioning as they should, and those changes need to be detected and addressed. So this really gets down to testing. And Alan, you're working with customers all the time, and they talk to you about their testing plans. Most of the time, that's manual testing. Talk to us a little bit about the challenges that they tell you.
Yeah, so you're right. It is mostly manual, the testing that they do. Everybody does testing, whether it's for migration, regression testing, report development, and so on. The problem and challenge with manual testing is there's a couple of things. So first of all, it's a small subset of reports because it takes such a long time. It's a tedious process. You're really not getting a large volume of reports for testing. Another thing is, it can be causing by human error. There's a lot of errors that can happen within manual testing. Typically, users are scheduling reports, exporting to like Excel, and then visually and manually testing the reports. So let's take a look at some of the scenarios as to why testing and when testing can happen. So here we're looking at where there is a reporting database change behind the report in business objects. So that can certainly cause data to change within a report. So any changes that happen to the database, it's important to test these reports so that the results are the same. And the APOS Insight validation service can do that. But not only do that, but do it in bulk, large volume of reports, and it's all automated as well. Another example would be for migration. So let's say you're migrating from one version of business objects to another. Historically, we've seen changes to things like the Webby data calculation engine, and it has produced different results on the output of the report. So especially for migration, report testing is very, very critical. So again, the Insight validation service can help here and do that in bulk.
All right, those are two scenarios, but certainly there are many others that can be addressed there. One of our customers, a large insurance company, has dealt with the challenge of exactly this. They were handling a certain level of testing, but it was manual. It meant that in the grand scheme of their very large deployment, only a small set of reports was being tested, and even within that, a subset of the actual report itself was being tested. So really their overall testing processes were quite limited compared to the importance of having their data correct. So this is where the APOS Insight solution and its report testing module really fit in well, allowed them to automate the processes, have a much larger sample set, much more effective means, and because it's automated, it reduces all of the impact for error. So this has had a very positive result for them in their processes and the outcomes for management of their business objects environment and the change within that. So APOS Insight, managing change. We'll be looking at some other change scenarios here in an upcoming session, but operating environment changes is certainly an important one. Alan, thanks for the discussion today.
Thanks, Alan.